Welcome to Soul Mastery. I am your host, Chaitali Desai, and today we are talking about surrender. When you hear that word, does your energies just kind of recoil and pull back? I know mine did for so long, and primarily it's because I would think of surrender as giving up. But today I want to invite you to redefine it. What if surrender is the one thing, the missing thing, link, step that's been keeping you from your creative process, keeping you from the success that that you desire, that you've been working towards, wanting to call in? This is something that I have actually been working on and has not been easy, not gonna lie. I always kind of tell you exactly how it's been for me. And sometimes leading from the front, it's difficult. It's vulnerable, but it's my choice. And right now, what I've been contemplating, dancing with, working with, is this concept of surrender and redefining it. Because literally for years now, I think of that word surrender and I literally can picture the white flag going up. I'm sure so many of you are like me, where we grew up at a time where the cartoons showed it all the time, right? The cartoons, the TV shows, surrender was like, the connotation it gave us was that we were quitting, we were giving up, we were on the losing side of the battle. And then we wonder why we struggle with this concept. So I really want to bring, how I've been processing through it and redefining it, not only for myself, but today for you. I think this is so it's such a needed conversation. And as you can tell, it's a little bit difficult for me because it is quite raw. It's easy to surrender things that aren't important to you, or things that you don't hold dear to your heart or close to your heart. For what's a good example? If we're using the definition of releasing or letting go, maybe there was like, you surrendered to the fact that, those jeans that used to fit you in high school, it's okay to let them go. You're holding on to them. They're not really bringing you joy. If we Marie Kondo that, it's not bringing you joy. It's just making you feel shitty. We surrender to letting them go. But it's a little bit different when we're talking about something that you hold dear to your heart. When you're talking about your business, when you're talking about your creative endeavors, when you're talking about perhaps spiritual endeavors, when you're talking about anything that requires, or anything that is connected to your heart, connected to your desires, to say that I'm going to surrender it, ooh, that is not easy. And while it is a difficult decision, I can honestly say it's been a decision that's brought me relief, that's brought me a sense of calm that hasn't been there for a long time. It was always like this undercurrent of angst, this undercurrent of not enoughness. Yeah. And in surrendering, whether you believe in God, Buddha, the universe, spirit, Madhav, Mataji, whoever you pray to, whatever your concept of spirit is, surrendering those desires to that higher power, to say, you know what, I have been trying to control this as a human with my own human efforts, but it's not enough. Or it's not that it's not enough, it's still lacking. And in the act of surrender, you actually end up releasing this powerful belief, right? Let's just take business. You're building your business and you're like, okay, I have this idea. You have to still take action. I'm not saying that you're just going to sit there and do nothing. Okay. Don't misunderstand this. What I am saying is you release the control of the outcome, the expectations, the, okay, if I do this, I'll get that mentality. And this can be hard, especially for type A, high achieving type of people. Hello, this shit is difficult, okay? But in this act of surrender, there is freedom for you. So let's walk through this. What could it look like? Well, for starters, it could look like realizing that, yes, you're a human and that you will need to take steps, but releasing the expectation of what will happen when you take these steps is an act of surrender. And funny enough, it takes so much more trust to surrender than it does to stay in control of every little bit and micromanage yourself. In relationships, surrendering can look like releasing the need to always be right, releasing the need to always have the last word, releasing the need to always say, see, I told you so, right? I've been guilty. Come on now. In your creative pursuits, again, releasing the expectations actually leads to gaining clarity. And I know a couple of episodes ago, I told you I'd be talking about this stepping away for a moment and really talking about how it offers you clarity. And it is tied into surrender. So I have a story to share here. About a month ago, my family and I shared that we went to Egypt. It's been a bucket list and then a bucket list trip, and the opportunity presented itself, and we went. And oh my God, it exceeded our expectations. It was just an amazing experience. And for myself, it was the first time I have been offline in like 5-6 years, maybe longer, but for sure the last 5 years. It was so amazing to step away, but I had to surrender the control. I had to surrender the idea of like, oh my God, if I'm not constantly on, are people going to forget about me? If I'm not constantly in front of you on my podcast or on my social media or in my emails, wherever, what if all of a sudden I lose all my momentum, right? All the human thoughts. I mean, these are real things, the real concerns that we have as business owners, especially if you're leveraging social media or on online platforms. These are real concerns. And admitting that is part of the surrender. Right? Because now you're not hiding behind it, pretending like you don't worry or you don't have this struggle. We all have it. We just don't all talk about it. That's the difference there. Today, I'm putting it on the table for you, and I'm in a way giving you the permission to say the same thing, to understand that everybody has them, no matter if you're starting out or you're scaling to multiple millions, or maybe you're in 8 figures, 9 figures, whatever it looks like for you. We all have these concerns. They don't go away. What changes is how we approach them. I know it's changed for me in these years that I have been doing this, and every day it gets better. I get better, right? 1% daily improvement. So we went away off the grid, basically. More or less, I'd say for 90% of this trip, I was off the grid. Maybe I post here and there, but very rare. And it was the most beautiful gift I gave myself, because it gave me space to, one, be fully present with my family, fully present for this bucket list trip, experience all the things, the sights, the smells, the people, the food, everything, you name it. And since we were there during Ramadan, to experience just the festivities of the joy of the holiday. What it also gave me, it was a gift of clarity. Because I had surrendered my need to control everything, and all I was asking of myself was to be present in the moment with my family, to experience the experience, fully experience this experience, not realizing that that was actually an act of surrender. And in doing so, I was gifted so much clarity of next steps, of incorporating different elements of my business that I couldn't quite connect the dots to for a while. And it was a struggle behind the scenes. Not so behind the scenes anymore, but all right. I'm surrendering my need to keep that to myself if it helps you. But it gave me so many unexpected gifts in this surrender. And then recently, again, as I'm going through and restructuring, revitalizing, reinventing, I surrendered the control of it. Another way to say it is like I surrendered the control of the business in the way of, okay, if I do this, then like I stopped that negotiation. That is scary. It's even more scary sharing it with you. But I have to tell you, it was a beautiful moment. And the clarity, again, it's almost like I surrender, I gain clarity. I surrender, I gain clarity. The clarity and the expansiveness and the freedom that it's given my energy, right? Because my energy is not clogged with the worry of what to do or if I then. It doesn't exist. I was like, okay, I can't, my human is not going to be able to do it by herself. The spaciousness I feel is amazing. And it's opened up this new realm of possibility, right? This sense of clarity, this sense of, oh, could it really have been that easy? But all of this came by redefining surrender. Surrender is not giving up, but it's releasing the expectation of control, or releasing the control and the expectations that come with it. You guys know how much I love Tinkerbell? And one of her sayings, or their like the Pixies sayings, I suppose, is just takes a little faith, trust, and pixie dust. I believe that pixie dust is a little bit of surrender, which gives you the faith and the trust. So perhaps it should be a little bit of pixie dust, faith, and trust. In that surrender, I think that surrender is the magic that opens you up to so much. And it's like heart opening, literally heart openings. It's, you feel the emotions, you get to process through them and release them. And it is such a powerful and liberating choice. It is a choice. You guys can hear me and like completely tune me out and be like, screw you, I need to be in control of all of it. And I'm telling you, as a type A and someone who is very much in that mindset, like if I'm not controlling it, then you know what, it's not going to happen. You know, I tell you how I've either walked myself through it or I've mentored others to walk through it. And I will invite you, if this is something that resonates with you and you would like support, I am taking on 5 new clients for the month of June. So if you're interested in the one-to-one container with me, definitely reach out. I'll drop a link in the show notes here, and you can hop on my discovery call, see if we're a good fit for each other. But in the meantime, let's talk about, what does it mean? Like, how do you surrender, right? Because I'm sure you're listening. You're like, oh, that's great. It gave you all that freedom. But how did you do it? I do walk in faith. I walk in a sense of knowing that there's definitely a support system that surrounds me. Whether for you it's a God, a spirit, the universe, you know, you use your name for it. Different ways to surrender: prayer, meditation, active meditation. So you guys know I'm a huge proponent of walking, and I use that as a very meditative space. Journaling, right? I'm releasing the need to control this. I'm asking for support on this. Imagine what the benefits could be for you. What would that look like for you if you were to actually just, what was Carrie Underwood's song? Like for her, it was Jesus Take the Wheel. What if Spirit takes the wheel? Obviously, as a human being, you will be taking steps. So it's like active rest, right? Active waiting. In the meantime, you're not controlling it, but you're not just sitting around not thinking, not taking action behind the scenes. What that looks like. You want to release the control element of your business. That you're just going to step out, and you're stepping out in faith, but you're stepping. So what's the next practical step that you could take? Well, if no one knows you're in business, then perhaps it's telling people you're in business. Like, hey, I have this business over here, and I do XYZ. You guys know I do human design, hypnosis, energetic alignment for business and life success. Because I'm a strong believer that what happens in one area also can happen in all areas. But oftentimes, as high achievers, as entrepreneurs, we can get so focused on the one thing that other elements of our lives kind of take a back seat or are not as clean as you want them to be, right? And so that's where I teach or I mentor you to the ebb and flow. But my point being, what is the next practical step that you could take? Or maybe it's impractical. So maybe you're like, well, I only have $10,000 to my name, Chaitali. So what am I going to do to start a business? Well, Google different options. What can you do? Right? You don't need to leverage all of that money for a business. There's so, in this day and age of network marketing, affiliate marketing, again, if you have questions, but there are so many options. What are you going to choose? If you're like me, you've probably holding on to it and just saying, okay, I have to control it. That is exhausting. It's exhausting. And because you get tired, what happens is you can miss obvious opportunities around you. So it may feel in the moment like you're losing control. You're not in the seat of power. And sometimes it can come with some sadness. So if you do feel that, it's okay. Feel it, own it. Like, I'm feeling sad because I'm relinquishing control of whatever. And then move. Don't just sit there. That's not what we do. We don't just sit there. We allow the space, the emotion, the feeling to happen, to come through, to whatever it needs to be processed, and then you move. What is the next step? And if you're not sure, ask. Your intuition, your higher self, your reticular activating system, it's always, everything is on, listening. And if all of a sudden you feel like, oh, today I need to go talk to this person, talk to that person, because that was probably an answer from your reticular activating system, your intuition, your higher powers. Act on those nudges. They don't just show up to show up. Meaning there's a purpose behind that nudge, that thought, that idea. A great example, if you guys are listening to me and you're like, what are you talking about? Your reticular activating system, it's kind of like a filtration system in the back of your mind that says, oh, okay, she usually likes these things, so I'm only going to show her these things. It doesn't know that you're open to other ideas, other avenues, other ideas, other thoughts. So you don't see them. It gets filtered out of your vision, peripheral, physical vision, and, intuitive vision. Start sharing to yourself, like, okay, I'm going to surrender the need to control this aspect. What are my options? Hey, spirit, universe, God, Bhagwan, Mataji, whatever your name is for your higher being, ask them, hey, surprise and delight me today. Open a conversation. If you're like, well, that doesn't sound real, that doesn't sound like it's something that I can do, I'm going to give you an experiment. And it's such a small act of surrender, but it'll be interesting to see if you can do it. When you get into your car, going to the place that you always go to, maybe it's work, school, the gym, your favorite grocery store, wherever, try using a new route. Can you surrender to the uncertainty of driving in a different manner, in a different direction, in a different GPS route? Surrender can look that small. Instead of going the way you always go, can you surrender to this new way? Can you surrender to trying a new way? That's your test for this week. Again, I want to leave you with this. Surrendering to the creative process can open possibilities that our human mind, our human body could not have experienced otherwise, because we get in our own way. And redefining surrender, that it's not giving up. It is not throwing in the white flag or throwing in the towel. It's releasing this control that we have to do everything ourselves. I mean, you'll still have to take action, but there's other ways of doing the same thing. The benefits far outweigh your fear of giving control up. Freedom, literally a sense of freedom in your body, in your energy, opening you up to new possibility. I definitely think this is worth the challenge. I cannot wait to hear what happens, how you do, what questions you have. And if you're looking for greater support, again, I'm taking on 5 new clients for the month of June. So if it's you, book the discovery call below and let's hop on a call together. I'm Chaitali Desai. This is Soul Mastery for the visionary who desires sacred alignment in life, business. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if anything landed, I'd love to hear about it. Tag me over on Instagram or email me. Okay, that's it for today. Have a beautiful day. And like always, it's time to rise.